Welcome to Retro Scale Modelling. My next build is a Tiger 1 by Zvezda. This is part of my Battle of Kursk project in Diorama. So let's have a quick look what's inside this bag. So each kit comes in these little resealable bags because it's all one big kit really. So the sprues for the Tiger 1, we have two main sprues. The bottom hull is off the sprue, but that's meant to be like that. And of course we have the track. Now track's that soft plastic stuff, so yeah, it's pliable and bendable, but I found out with this kit it's prone to breaking, so just pay attention to that. The wheels look nicely molded. There's quite a few wheels to do for the Tiger, as I found out when I done the Airfix one. Onto the instructions. Now these instructions are in English as well as Russian, not so much a lot of English in it, but there's enough to be getting on by. And if you find difficulty with that, the pictures are fairly easy to follow. It also comes with a small decal sheet. There's two marking options for this. It's not really a variant, it's just nameplate markings really. The stencil and paint marking part of the instructions are at the back, and it's your basic Tiger pattern. This one is for the Battle of Kursk, but of course these variations, they're only slight variations, or I should say, on the Tiger ones. So this kit should be similar to the Airfix one I've just done, so let's get into the build. To begin with, I'm giving the tracks an undercoat of 113 Rust by Umbro. If you've watched my other videos for tanks, I've done a few of them all in quick succession. You'll be familiar with how I'm doing it, but if this is the first time you've watched, I put a rust coating down first of all before I put on the main colour, and then jump into the wheels. It's a light colour UA7341 black, and this is just the rim of the wheels that I'm painting here. For the inner part of the wheel, it's a Umbro 94 brown yellow. You can make an argument here, you can use 93 desert yellow, depending on how you feel. They're very similar colours. In fact, this will be the main base colour of the entire tank. So as you can see here, I'm just painting on the base colours. I'm doing it all on the sprue, and I'm just painting everything in the same colour of 94 brown yellow by Umbro. So everything where possible is going to be painted on the sprue, as you can see. Then it's back to the track, and I'm using Umbro's 53 gunmetal here, and what I'm doing is I'm putting the pigment on the brush, taking the excess off, and just lightly going over the rust colour. This gives it a dark metallic look to the track. So you want that rust to come through, but not strongly. You only want it to be diluted a bit. I'm also using the same colour to paint in the cables and the gun barrels as well. So now all the base painting is done, it's time for construction. And first of all, I'm placing in the exhaust on the back armour plating, and then the housing for the exhaust can go on after once it's on. Now remember, this kit is a snap together kit, so you don't necessarily have to cement them in place. I would recommend it though, to cement them in place. That way you know they're secure and they're not going to come off. Next to go on are various little pieces on the black plating, from tiny little brackets to the actual armour plate for the rear part of the track. To fit the armour plate, there is two little recess holes just at the side of the unit, so you have to angle it in such a way that you get one side in, squeeze out the other side, then just pop it in. Remember, it is a tight fit because it is a snap kit. It's always worth bearing that in mind as well. So next is the wheel and tracks, and this is, to me, is strange. You're actually having to build the wheels onto the track. Normally you would build the wheels up onto the sidewall of the vehicle, but this one you're having to build them on the track. There is little location points throughout the track for these to connect to though. And once you've got the main section on it, you simply just push this in onto the axles, and it should line up and push in without any fuss. and then your idle and drive wheel go on next before bending them over. Again, just be careful while bending these tracks because they can snap if you do it too much. I'm just putting a little bit of cement as I go along, so I'm not going to get any slippage as I'm trying to bend the track. And once you're happy with the position of all the wheels and they're in the correct order, now is the time to actually bend the track over the wheels and secure it with a little bit of cement. You may have to hold it for a minute or so just until it sets. The second track I had a problem with, it did snap as you can see there. I just moved the FX Tiger out the way first. I probably was bending it too much while I was dry fitting. It was probably more my fault, but in the position it's bent in, it will be difficult to attach. It'll be squaring it off. So I've decided this will be the one that will be battle damage while I put it in, when I put it in the diorama. So I'm not so worried about it. The main hull then is next to go on, and that just simply clips on into the back, and if you push it down firmly it should all just clip into place. You shouldn't need to hold this. The snap together fittings should hold it all into place for you. Next to go on is the front machine gun and driver's port. This is already pre-molded, so it just pushes onto the front. Onto the turret now. The larger part should just push into the side there. There's not much for it to hold on to. You can actually fit the bottom collar and then place in the barrel if you wish. But either way, once both halves are on, you simply push down the outer covering onto the main turret. Then I moved on back to the hull. There's various little parts you have to put on here, from little brackets to lights and so forth. There is some equipment like hammers, spades and whatever. Those won't be going on until after I've done the camouflage painting. This part here, I'm not exactly sure what it's for, but it fits in between the engine vents. The FX one didn't have this, so I don't know what it is actually for. Onto the painting and the camouflage, and starting off with Umbro 86 Light Olive. I'm basically roughly following the plan on the instructions, but generally when I do this, I just do it by eye and do what feels natural. I then moved on to Umbro 160, and that's German camouflage red brown, and this is the secondary main colour of the camouflage. Once the camouflage is painted and dry, it's time to put on all the little ornaments and that. So first of all is the spare track, and then it's placing on all of the little tools like the sledgehammer, bolt cutters, spades, things like that. And all these are painted with Umbro's 110 natural wood for the handles and stalks, and for the bladed parts it's 53 gun metal. Last to go on before the turret is the cables, which run along the edge of the hull. And once everything was dried and secure, it was just time to pop on the turret. And the last thing to do is place on the decals. Now, these are going on the normal way I put them on, so placing them in some warm water to soften them up, then putting a decal solution onto the area before gently sliding them on to the model. There's not that many decals on these tanks, so it won't take long. Well, this brings this build to an end. These builds are very short. I'm not going into much detail as building them because I've gone into a lot of detail on my other tank builds. That's why this is just really a snapshot of each build. They're all very similar anyway, so if you've done one of these, the differences are tiny, so it doesn't really matter. So saying that, if you haven't done so already, why don't you check out the channel for those builds? If you subscribe to the channel, you'll get notified of all the new content that I'm putting up. hit that like button, and of course you can also leave a comment. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.